If you don't watch Fox News, you are missing out on some seriously unhinged coverage of these college protests.
Progressive TikToker and YouTuber Kat Abu covered one of Fox News's recent meltdowns over the campus protests. And in that, she had one of the best lines that I have heard in a while. So we're going to take a look at some clips of Kat dissecting and making fun of Jesse Waters and some of the other Fox News far-right hosts and what they had to say.
Student encampments are popping up nationwide, standing against the genocide happening in Gaza. And I'll tell you this, warhawks, and especially conservative warhawks, are losing their collective mind. So instead of my usual Friday recap, let's talk about how bad this rhetoric's gotten, because it's, not great. Sentient hazing scandal Jesse Waters invented a completely
Sentient hazing scandal, Jesse Waters. That is such a great line. I don't think anybody has ever so perfectly summed up Jesse Waters. What a douchebag that guy is.
new guy to be mad at. And don't worry, it's super racist.
Biden's making us pay Johnny Jihad's tuition. Johnny Jihad can just walk from Mexico to Texas, hop on a plane, and slip into the crowd on the Columbia Quad. They've been grooming little Johnny Jihads to burst into flames first semester. Kaboom.
Please, Mr. Jihad was my father. Call me Johnny.
Kaboom.
That same night, a guest made a...
What's so funny to me about this is that conservatives hate higher education. They hate college professors. Jesse Waters and these other clowns are constantly complaining about how kids are being indoctrinated by these Marxist professors, blah, blah, blah. They should be happy about what's going on with these protests, that it's disrupting all of this horrible indoctrination that's happening. But no, they're mad about this too, because their whole shtick is just being aggrieved and being mad about everything.
A really great comparison about these protests.
What we are seeing right now on our streets and on our...
I don't know who this lady is, but she has a really ridiculous point here.
campuses is an illegal occupation.
Funny that illegal occupation. Does she not see the irony there?
Just like we were bombed by the Japanese in Pearl Harbor well into World War II, and that woke us up, we have been bombed, okay? And Americans need to wake up right now.
Bombed? What does that mean? We've been bombed? Nobody attacked us. These are kids protesting at campuses. What does this have anything to do with bombing or a comparison to Pearl Harbor? Nobody attacked the United States.
Now, so there's a course correction because they are following the exact textbook, how to overthrow a democracy.
What?
Overthrow democracy, like something that happened a few years ago, a former president who his followers stormed the Capitol, overthrowing the democracy like that, overthrowing the government like that.
What the fuck are you talking about? Just listen to yourself for 1 second. You compared students protesting to Pearl Harbor. You should never be allowed to speak on television again.
We have been bombed.
Throughout this entire news cycle, I've learned that Fox hosts truly do not understand the very idea of solidarity. Like, multiple people are convinced these are being puppeteered by a shadow government.
Many are questioning who's organizing this movement, pointing out that these tents are pretty similar, right, at campuses across the country, even though they're hundreds of miles apart.
Why do they have all of them the same green tents? Who is producing this massive amount of literature?
You look at the tents, you can tell this is an inorganic thing. This is definitely a setup. This is definitely an operation.
You're telling me they all went and bought tents from a sports supply store? Wouldn't it make more sense if this was being run by Iran?
Now, one thing that she doesn't point out here, and the Fox News hosts do not say this in this particular video, but it's been said elsewhere, George Soros. He's always the mastermind of everything. And of course, George Soros is just code word for being anti-Semitic, which is ironic considering that these are protests against Israel.
Unsurprisingly, a ton of hosts were pushing for state violence against these students.
Shouldn't America arrest as many Hamas as possible? All of them should.
Okay, to this dumbass, there's no Hamas in the United States. These are college students. They aren't Hamas. They're people protesting because they're upset with what is going on. They're not terrorists. They're not Hamas. There's no Hamas here.
Should be closed down tonight. People who insist on staying should be arrested.
And the police are basically they're trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, you're right. The anti-war college students usually go down as the bad guys in history. Also, sicking police on them makes you look awesome in retrospect.
This is an example, a great example of history repeating itself and people not learning from history. All of these clowns on Fox News, like Jesse Waters, they would have been the people in the late 60s and early 70s saying exactly this.
And if they can't get control of it on the university campus, there is an appropriate time for the National Guard to be involved.
What do you think about the shooting at Kent? The people weren't behaving properly, and apparently they have asked for that sort of thing.
So you think the guard was justified?
Yes, I do. I'm sorry they didn't kill more.
Really?
Yes, because they were warned and they knew what was happening and they should have moved out.
If that's what it took to break them up, well, then that's what it takes.
Right after the shooting, we were ordered off campus. We had to leave. So I got home. My mother wasn't there. My father walked in the back door and he looks at me and he says, "They should have shot all of them." And I said to him, and I never talked to my father, I said, "Don't you know then that one of them, those people would have been me?" And he just walked into the other room.
That is really chilling. And you see this mentality, 50 years later, it's still there. You have people like Jesse Waters, these other Fox News hosts. They don't believe in any kind of dissent. They don't believe in protesting. They say, okay, they've overtaken these public spaces. We're against that. Okay. What would be another acceptable form of protesting? What about people silently kneeling during the national anthem? Oh no, we're against that too.
Jesse Waters is convinced that only women are supporting Palestine, and it's because they're too single.
Females, and I think I can speak for the women at the table,
you cannot,
are generally nurturing people. And when their professors are giving them better grades for their social activism, they're trying to appeal to their teachers, and they've been told they're oppressed as women. And they identify with the Palestinians, and they're trying to hug them and nurture them. Because they're single, they're not nurturing their boyfriends. Their boyfriends have been described as toxic. So they're trying to nurture other people.
Yeah, they're definitely risking their academic careers because they don't have a boyfriend to play mommy for.
Does Jesse Waters just make this shit up on the spot? Is somebody writing this stuff for him? Is he writing it ahead of time? Or is he just making it up? Because that was absolutely moronic. There's no surprise that Jesse Waters and these other Fox News hosts spew this type of nonsense. So what do you think? Do you agree with Kat Abu here? Was she right at correct to ridicule Jesse Waters and the rest of the Fox News hosts as I think she was? Or do you side with Jesse Waters and Fox News and these other far-right people? Are they right to be completely against what these campus protests represent and what these students are trying to do? Make sure to give me a like and subscribe, give me a comment, and I will see you in the next one.